And this week, we're going to be doing something completely different. No, actually, that's what the title of this week's movie is. Not conventionally a movie, but it's actually based off of the classic BBC series Monty Python's Flying Circus. It's a compilation of the first 2 seasons of Monty Python's Flying Circus. And when you put it all together, we have a title called "And Now for Something Completely Different." This is a sketch comedy that runs for 1 hour and 28 minutes long. It is directed by Ian McNaughton. It is produced by Patricia Casey. The script was written by the Monty Python troupe. It is based off of, like I said, the first 2 seasons of the TV series from BBC, Monty Python's Flying Circus. The score was done by Douglas Gamely, Terry Jones, Michael Palin, and Fred Tomlinson. The cinematography by David Muir, and it was edited by Tom Noble. And the stars of the movie are the alums from Monty Python's Flying Circus, which includes Graham Chapman, who's not with us anymore. He sadly passed away in 1989. We also have John Cleese, who's still alive and kicking. Terry Gilliam, who actually went on to become a great director of such movies like Time Bandits, The Fisher King, The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. We also have comedy legend Eric Idle. We have Terry Jones, who sadly passed away this year. So this episode is in the memory of Terry Jones. And also to round off the cast, we have Michael Palin, along with some frequent collaborators during the Monty Python sketch. We have Carol Cleveland and Connie Booth. So, not conventionally looked upon as a movie, and now for something completely different, is just a series of sketches from the early years of Monty Python's Flying Circus, which ran from 1969 to 1974. This film was picked up by then producer Victor Lowndes, who at the same time was head of the Playboy Operation affiliate in Great Britain. These series of sketches was meant to showcase the comedic styles of this troupe as an introduction to the American public. They were, of course, a big hit in Britain. Of course, they also launched a few movies too, like Quest for Camelot, Life of Brian, The Meaning of Life. So they've had a few other things going for them too. And of course, they also did their own things outside of the Python troupe. But this was just supposed to be sort of like a way to get the American public to fully get into the humor that this British sextet performed. The results were met with a bit of a rocky final product due to the revamping of the sketches, due to a lack of an original spin on them, even though they'll eternally by far be the greatest, funniest material ever in British comedy. If you're a true Python fan, you'll be disappointed due to the sketches that has been done before. Some of the revamping didn't come out like it was in the original series. Some of the characters' physical traits or costuming or just the way they looked on screen was different than what you would see on television. However, if you're new to the Python universe, you'll pretty much laugh out loud until your head explodes. The material they had to offer to us was really hilarious. And gives us a glimpse and gave us a glimpse of the Pythons during their early years. Although I was upset that the Ministry of Silly Walks was excluded and by the request from Lowndes. So it's just a shame that Michael Palin had to exclude his character, Ken Shabby. But we're still delighted to the classic skits that they performed, including the world's most dangerous joke, where if you laugh at this joke, chances are you will die laughing. And I mean you will literally die laughing. In fact, this joke was so funny, it actually wiped out the Nazis during World War II. Because the joke was so funny, they actually literally died laughing. And then we also had something called the Upper Class Twit of the Year. Oh, really? Isn't that what the British Parliament is? There are definitely some contentions up there for upper class twits. I'm just saying. We also have a dead parrot sketch. Oh no, wait. It's not a dead parrot. It's a used parrot. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, there's also a sketch. That was one of their more famous ones. They also had the Lumberjacks song. And my personal favorite one was the marriage guidance counselor, which poor Arthur Pewty walks into a marriage counselor's office, and the marriage counselor kind of ignores his tedious explanations as to why Arthur and his wife Deidre are in his office. And then, the marriage counselor kind of like excludes him outside the room while he makes love to his wife. And then all of a sudden a voice from heaven berates Michael Palin by saying that he's been a pushover for too long and it's time for him to, step up, man up. But of course that plan failed miserably. That's one of my favorites. The thing that's lacking in this film is the cohesion of purpose as to why these selected skits were chosen. And while a few sketches are okay, if it was carried on in a 30-minute format, it started to eventually wear out its welcome after 90 minutes. It would take years for the Python team to show that it could produce a lengthy movie based on their own blend of humor, like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Monty Python's Life of Brian, but seemed to return to sketch mode for the uninspiring The Meaning of Life. The members of the Monty Python troupe each get to benefit on their individual characters, more fleshed out on the big screen than on the series. But keep in mind, British television wasn't exclusive back in 1971. The subtle and nuanced moments are quite revealing and prominent, and it helps elevate each character better, especially from John Cleese and the animated motifs from Terry Gilliam. The animated features definitely look really impressive on the big screen. That's probably one of the big highlights here. Though they made an effort to promote their comedy to the American audience, they still weren't that successful. But they were still a hit in Britain, which is unfair to say because the British were familiar with the material. The Americans needed time to catch on and understand that though they spoke English, their accents and their dialects were a little hard to decipher. They're just not speaking the same kind of English that Americans speak. Come to think of it, the English that's spoken in Canada, the United States, Britain, Australia, New Zealand, Jamaica, Bahamas, well, everybody has a different way of saying things. I mean, chips is French fries, and chips in Britain are crisps. You know? I don't understand how currencies go in Britain, like shillings, crowns, pounds. I never been to England, but you know, it's just things like that that really might turn people off, because even though they're speaking English, what does it all mean? However, through patience, the movie would become a cult classic and an inspiration to other comedy troupes like the Trailer Park Boys, one of my personal favorite Canadian troupes known as Kids in the Hall. In the end, and now for something completely different, is a useful guide to get new Python lovers a chance to get into their world, where comedy, imagination, and just pure adrenaline, pulsing insanity these performers have been providing for us for the last 50 years. It's just priceless. They really, really know how to deliver. It's not watered down. It's not, meant to be politically correct. It's not meant to be taken seriously, even though maybe by today's standards some of their comedy delivered might be considered offensive. But if you're triggered and you're offended by their jokes, then just stay away. Don't spoil it for other people just because you're cynical. But if a person has a sense of humor and can understand that their jokes are all based off of satire and not political slandering, then this movie might be for you. You might have to sit back and have yourself a lark. And if you don't, then fuck off and get lost. Don't spoil it for others. So I would still recommend people to see this movie if you wish to actually see it on stations. I think it's on Daily Motion. If you want to use closed captioning to sort of get a better understanding of what they're saying, that's good. And I don't think I find that to be insulting to their language either. Just because they say something a little bit different doesn't mean it's not incoherent. You just may have to look it up, and maybe you might get a better understanding of what they're saying. But this is just out of pure fun, out of pure enjoyment in comedy, and it always looks like they seem to work very well together. They have some amazing chemistry. I also like the animated touches by Terry Gilliam. So I would really still highly recommend it for people who just want to know how the Monty Python troupe operates, how they function as a comedy team. It's really, really, really well executed. So I guess this ends my writer review. Thank you all for listening in. If you wish to subscribe to my channel, please feel free to do so. If you wish to leave a comment, go right ahead. Just remember the 3 simple rules: be kind, be courteous, and please refrain from any rude comments. I'll be back again with another movie review. So until next time, this is Eric Karat Writer saying, keep watching those movies, and I'll see you around. Goodbye.